Just imagine, Ronda Rousey wrestled the best debut match of all time. Stephanie McMahon worked a better match at WrestleMania than AJ Styles. WWE botched Daniel Bryan's babyface return, then made him the best heel in years. The only people who were ready for Asuka were Ellsworth and Carmella. Brock Lesnar went over Roman Reigns at Mania. Enzo Amore got fired, returned at Survivor Series to hijack the show, but was upstaged by Drake Maverick pissing his pants. Becky Lynch became the most over star in the company. Shane McMahon formally became, for sake, the best wrestler in the world. And if you'd put an accumulator on all of that happening, you still wouldn't have made as much money as Shawn Michaels did coming out of retirement to kick Kane's mask off. That was all 2018, but what next? What mad, inconceivable, inexplicable, unbelievable could possibly happen next year? Well, I might as well have a stab at it, I guess. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 10 bold predictions for WWE in 2019. Number 10, an all-elite exodus. There are two glaring facts going into the new year. One, All Elite Wrestling will be on the hunt for prominent US talent to help get some traction on TV. And two, WWE is chock full of big names who either aren't being used or aren't happy. I mean, for starters, take The Revival. Genuinely one of the best tag teams in the world during a time when tag team wrestling is afforded a maximum of 15 minutes per pay-per-view. Then there's Zack Ryder, IRL best buds with Cody, who hasn't been seen on TV since WrestleMania. Finn Balor's smile is now as artificial as your dad prays his abs are, and given his history with the group that spawned the Elite, would go in there as a guaranteed main eventer. Gran Metalik is a legitimately amazing wrestler who generated some of the most searing heat ever witnessed in Mexico and is currently banging children's instruments. If the call comes, expect a lot of big names to answer. Number 9, Ronda Rousey will leave. Despite performing with the same sort of intense legitimacy, Ronda Rousey is in every other way the antithesis of Brock Lesnar. She turns up with a genuine smile on her face and has shown a deep commitment to being the best she can possibly be at this. I personally cannot remember a more impressive rookie year. But that being said, she's also just started to show the first signs of inner turmoil about the wrestling business. Speaking on her official YouTube channel in November, Rousey, in an emotional outburst, announced that she can't wrestle forever because she feels like she is failing her family. Now, for a bit of context here, Ronda is a self-proclaimed genetic cream of the crop. I'm not taking the piss here, she genuinely believes that she owes it to the future success of the planet to survive and reproduce. If a WrestleMania main event is forthcoming for her in 2019, then there's not really much left for her to achieve, and thus motherhood may beckon not long after. Number 8, Fox Sports will change WWE. Fox reportedly have lofty ambitions for SmackDown. Eyeing a very steep viewership increase at a time when ratings are tumbling, Fox also holds its own vision for the blue brand. The network want to align SmackDown with its existing sports output, i.e. make it feel like actual competition. How that works, though, is anyone's guess. A league ranking system surely wouldn't work in reality, and the round-robin format of the Mixed Match Challenge was just weird. A long-form single-elimination tournament is a practical option, but then again, guess which crazy old bastard hates the word tournament? But the key to this prediction is in the fact that, inverse to their relationship with USA, WWE needs Fox far more than Fox needs WWE. What is clear, from the rumblings at least, is that Fox did not pick up an out-of-the-box product fading in popularity. They picked up a sleeping giant with the intention of waking it. Number 7, WWE will scrap the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view at the very least. Proof, if any more were needed, that WWE watches my output religiously and considers me the absolute nadir of all wrestling punditry. If you recall, we made a big song and dance saying this the other month. Is that WWE need to bin off the rematch clause forever, and that will fix so much. Lo and behold, and with apologies to the authors of Pain and Becky Lynch here, they've binned off automatic rematch clauses. You're all welcome. Anyway, another concept that needs to end up on the scrap pile for equally obvious reasons is gimmick pay-per-views. In good storylines, as we're seeing with Becky and Charlotte, the hatred informs the match, not the other way round. Hell in a Cell used to be the ultimate feud settler, but now it's just something random matches end up in come October. That, combined with the surging rate of injuries as we enter an era of gimmick match overload, for example, there were 8 pay-per-views this year named after a specific match type, should see WWE reserve them for when they're actually needed. Number 6, it's Matt Riddle's year. I mean, Just look at him. Matt Riddle is a preposterous physical specimen. He's a guy who breezily admits to only working out when he can actually be arsed, but is somehow still an absolute killer, believable pro wrestler. His resting expression is that of a big, daft, beaming grin, and his charisma is so infectious that you can already envisage Vince chanting "bro" alongside him in Gorilla with absolutely no regard to the massive stiffy housed in his trousers. If there's one thing JBL used to say, it was wash your ass, weakling, I'm sticking my cock in it, but he also used to say if you were to build a WWE superstar from the ground up, he'd look like Randy Orton. If you had to do that now, the latter of the two, he'd look exactly like Matt Riddle, so expect huge things for him in 2019. Anyway, speaking of JBL, number 5, JBL will headline the Hall of Fame. Post Mauro Ranallo, this may sound very, 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 very dumb, but then this is a company that wanted to name a historic battle royal on their biggest global platform of the entire year after the Fabulous Moolah, so... Besides which, who else but JBL fulfills their headliner remit? 1. A living person. 2. No longer active in the ring. 3. Headlined several shows. 4. Who hasn't been included previously. And 5, and this is key, remember, is familiar to modern WWE fans. Per the rumour and innuendo, WWE want to induct The Rock this year. But thinking about it, the idea of the Great One spending his Saturday night listening to Tatanka drone on for an hour seems a little far-fetched. Besides, if his schedule is clear for that weekend, surely you just have him wrestle. Number 4, Shawn Michaels will wrestle again. Sort of. Looking both exhausted and a tad embarrassed in the aftermath of his Crown Jewel match, HBK told WWE that the pain he felt will be a very good reminder of why he didn't do that for 8 years and why he's not going to do it again, if he can help it. But can he help it? Listen to those words carefully and you will come to the realization that he has been bargaining all along. To convince himself that his legacy would remain intact, he doesn't count that match. He wasn't the showstopper, he said he was just a nostalgic touring act out there playing the hits. Now, if this is his mentality, then there's absolutely no reason he can't do it again, albeit for another Saudi Arabian payday. Maybe this time it won't hurt as much, and maybe this time he'll knock 5 or 10 minutes off the match. Here's hoping, anyway. Number 3, WWE will ruin Braun Strowman. I absolutely love that big lad, you know? He makes me want to invent a time machine so I can go back to every moment in history when I couldn't think of a witty retort and then punch whoever wronged me square in the teeth. But a performer of his ilk comes equipped with a certain expiration date. In short, monsters are powerful but limited performers who have to be booked sparingly, else the extraordinary becomes ordinary. Or, more pressingly, a man of that size cannot wrestle at his speed without turning his knees into dust. And per recent reports, that is precisely what is happening. In 2017, his brand of backstage stunts and blockbuster sports entertainment spectacles reduced grown men to wide-eyed children. But sadly, WWE have missed the opportunity to effectively promote this genuinely special act, and them being them, they'll blame him and not the booking. A 3rd consecutive defeat to Lesnar at the Rumble, bullshit finish or not, would be a huge indicator that they're already turning on him. Number 2, Hulk Hogan will host WrestleMania 35. Now, this might not read as bold as he did already return at Crown Jewel, but there is a marked difference between a cynical ploy to hide his return in plain sight and actually presenting him as the Babe Ruth of WWE on its grandest stage. Such a return poses a risk. Statistically, and this is genuinely true, WWE fans skew liberal. As mad as that may read, the murmurs of Hogan's reappearance very much divided the online fandom. This, combined with Hogan's continued inability to even work an apology, may result in a huge split reception. But Vince, and give him his due, the mad old bastard, is clever. No, honestly, he is. We didn't think he could possibly get away with promoting Crown Jewel, but he booked the show in such an absurd way that the outrage at the wrestling replaced the outrage at the politics. He knows what he's doing, and more than that, he knows that Real American is an absolute banger. Number 1, Mustafa Ali will win the WWE Championship. Following the events of the December the 18th SmackDown Live, in which Mustafa Ali pinned WWE Champion Daniel Bryan, he now has a legitimate claim to wrestle him for that title. Meanwhile, a panicked WWE has promised us widespread changes. Now they've largely proved fundamentally unable to change, but they are still very good at shocking us into a social media frenzy. The company are finding it harder and harder to lure people into developmental, as performers are seeing the majority of their peers have their considerable talents wasted, while big names make much better bank on the indies. But as is the case with all NXT to main roster call-ups, now that he's a SmackDown Live star, a meaty pay rise will have followed for Mustafa Ali. Plus, a sensational, if temporary, push for Ali may send a signal to those independent wrestlers who are cautious about getting into bed with the dub. Come sign for us, they'll say, and you too may one day receive this improbable push. Maybe.
Violent energy. Clear with the elbow. The kamikaze cranky. Wanda with a counter. And then maybe Star once again. Defiant Wrestling is loaded.